We're here, we're here, we're here, we're here. It's the ladies of Read, Watch, and Wine. And I'm Raya.
Treva.
Champagne.
And Lynn.
And today we are bringing to you, I can talk it up this time, the book to movie adaptation of The Willoughbys.
Yeah. Know it.
I'm the cartoon head, I'm the animation head, and we did The Willoughbys.
Somebody was so excited about this book. As you can see.
I don't even know what to say right now. So,
So
it
was,
almost sounded like you was on a I don't put the piggy when you said that.
okay.
Willoughby.
So The Willoughbys was also written by Lois Lowry, who also wrote The Giver. And we have reviewed The Giver before. If you have not listened to that, download it, check it out. And that was actually my pick.
Yeah,
The Giver.
yeah.
Oh, I did not realize that.
Yes.
That's because we write her. We write her. Me and Lynn write her.
It explains
Okay.
Yes, it does, actually. So today we are, so you guys can see I have background on, drinking.
Ooh.
It's called Horseshoe and Hand Grenades. It is a Black-owned winery that's out in Oregon. My dear friend Michael referred me to her friend Stephanie Carrillo, who owns the company Rose Creek Wine. It's a wine club, and they support all people of color in their wineries. So they have all different arrays of wine and different businesses. So thanks, Stephanie, for this recommendation. But this is a
Thank you.
the Cabernet. I drank most of it, so I can't really read it. What is it? It was a noir wine, but you know me, I like them dry. So it was very tasty.
Lynn, I don't understand why they keep talking about us. I mean, we're here. It's okay.
My glass is empty.
And fill her up.
And now I'm about to reach over to my bar and get more.
The two of you just, over and
Hate.
over.
So anyways, back to the actual
Grant, you
book.
see, in honor of you, I've got my candy canes because this is an old kitty review. Or not
Whatever.
Didn't realize that's what that was for. That's perfect.
I knew what that was for. I was trying to ignore it.
Man, I should have worn like some bunny ears or something.
Something,
I
right?
could have planned that better.
Yeah.
Now, like all blacked out over here. That's festive.
Okay,
Anyways.
so I'm curious because you said this was the same person that did The Giver, which was not a cartoon. So I'm wondering what his specialty is, or does he just have a variety of both?
Her.
Specialty is just in good.
Or Oh,
yeah.
That's what we
Clearly
said.
she has some deep, dark stuff, secrets going on. I don't even know how to
100%.
explain that. But The Giver was dystopian and this whole alternate world. And we're about to review this kids book, which I want to start. I had to go like Google when this book came out because some of the references, I was like, this is like 1932. And they were talking about going to Africa and getting the savages. And I'm like, say what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, is that like a actual minuscule? It's a small part, but like the verbiage, because you know how when we listen to Stephen King and he'd be dropping like the N words and whatnot. Yeah. I'm like, this was out in 2008. I don't understand why we're referencing. I get that it's an old fashioned story, so maybe that's why, but that really threw me off for a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I missed that.
I did not.
She got something to say. Don't do it.
I was like, okay.
Lynn just said it all. Like, why they gotta be savages? Like, what's going on?
I wasn't really a fan of that part, but I really liked that the book was, for one, set in Europe, And some of the cities that they were mentioning in like Rotterdam, I've been to. So I was just like, oh, I can actually imagine like this old decrepit house that's been there for years. And when they were talking about like the different languages and how like Rotterdam in Netherlands is like a port-like city. So, well, Amsterdam is, but I can understand like how someone would get lost at sea. So like for me, visually, I really got to be able to go through this book and like visualize landscape. So I was like, okay, I can kind of feel what was going on. It's a little dark for me though.
A little bit dark for the kids.
Yeah. So I agree. I'm thinking about the author and of course the prior book, and I'm like, there's some family parent conflict going on in this person's life. Yeah. Who the heck creates a kid's book with like such horrific parents? Just I'm reading the book and I'm like, wait, am I messing up? Like, am I not understanding what's happening here? Is this a kid's book? I don't understand.
A little bit dark.
Like, I don't love you and you can't have my food and I never should have had kids. I was like, is this for kids? Because I don't think it is.
At that point, were you like, what is Rhea suggesting here?
Of course,
what is
I was. Yes, most definitely.
Well, your whole thing about like Christmas and family, like getting together, and I'm like, this is literally the opposite. Literally.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that, Ray. I'm like, oh my God, let's do the Willoughbys around Christmas because it's kind of a Christmassy movie. It's the opposite of Christmas. Whatever that means.
I guess
for a while,
but it's a far stretch. I mean, 90% of the book was not Christmassy, but like, yeah. I get that. But other than that, it was not Christmassy, Rhea. I was like, this is not.
I don't know where that is.
I meant like feel good at the end type blah.
But feel horrible for 90% of the book.
Well, some of these Christmas, that's what they do. For some of these Christmas movies, it's horrible until the end.
You're right. The Grinch was horrible until the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But like, it's funny. It's Jim Carrey.
Basically, yeah. So yeah.
So, what else y'all got to say about my movie?
Well, let me just say,
book.
you know, it was kind of crazy.
My book.
I actually like the story. I'm just gonna give it to you. It was a really cute story, and so that's all I got to say.
So I like the story. I don't know if I would call it cute because it was demented in a way. But I like the book. Yeah, I don't really.
Wait, I didn't hear that one. I didn't hear that one more time. I got my little do-rag bun on today because it's a bad hair day, but I still can listen. What did you just say?
The book was interesting. Yeah,
we all heard it. It's all right, Brad. We all heard it.
Yeah, it was interesting. I actually liked it. I thought it was cute. I thought the characters were cute, and the storyline, yeah, it did have a happy ending. So it all came together in Love and Roses. Yes.
You know, I'm always looking for things that talk about, you know, differences in life and growing up. And, you know, yeah, it was a book, but I did a lot of Google searches on whether or not this actually was like somebody's real life.
I did too.
Oh, you did?
Was it like it would have to be in a way, except for the part where I'm sending my parents away to die for the most part. But you know,
I don't know. People do it. I don't know.
I mean, they were locking their kids in
he basically wrote the book based on a lot of different people's situations. So babies are abandoned, you know, terrible things happen. You know, relatives kind of show up, nannies kind of take care of the kids. So it was kind of like this particular story wasn't real, but different instances from different people's lives made up the story. I mean, you know, I'm always, especially, you know, for younger kids, I'm always kind of like, you need to look at the story because you think you got it bad, you know, that kind of thing. Or you spoiled us on what? Look what these kids had to do because never gonna watch this again tonight. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Poor Nappy.
I know. I feel like some serious abuse going on right now.
Got my baby.
So
But yeah, that's what I thought was really interesting about it. Sorry, Trina, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say, you're saying he pulled bits and pieces from other people's stories to come up with this story of like how a group of kids could possibly be treated. I guess the other thing that I was wondering is if he was an orphan.
Mhm.
And did he have some experiences being an orphan? I didn't do any research on it, but I said, since you and Lynn seem to be really into it, I didn't know whether you all researched that aspect.
Okay, so I'm just going to cut everybody off. The author is female.
Yeah.
Oh, female.
Yes.
You did tell me that already, but Rhea said he, and so she confused me.
I'm sorry. Louise.
Yes.
It's Louise, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Louise
think I
Ann?
thought it because it
better?
looks like Lewis. But that's probably what
Louise
messed me up.
Ann, is that better?
Thank you.
Louise Ann. Yeah. So we'll just remember that Ann part there. It helped you out for the pronoun.
Yeah.
What did y'all think of the movie?
Well,
I loved it.
I love the movie. It was so cute. And I am like the biggest Maya Rudolph fan in the world. So once I heard her voice, I was just sold. But you know, it didn't follow the storyline. So when I talk about the adaptation, it bothered me. But then there's a part of me that realizes that they probably had to modify it just to make it more entertaining and kid friendly. I don't know. I just, they made too many changes that I don't know that they need.
I don't like it.
Okay.
Well,
I like the story. I like the story. The cartoon. I like the visual to go with the book. It did not stay with the storyline. And my biggest issue, it drove me freaking crazy, is that they took out the entire part of Baby Ruth. I thought that was the reason I like right. That's the reason I like the book. I was like, because when it got to that part, I was like, oh my God, that is kind of neat, you know, which is why I like the book. But then for you not to have it, I felt like that was an important part to know, to carry over.
Like it was subtly kind of sprinkled upon, because in the book, it wasn't a candy factory. It was just like an old decrepit house. But in the movie, it was a factory. And when they were talking about what to name her and they used the icing or whatever and chose Ruth, and they were like, oh, she's a baby because of Ruthless. And so I think it was more of a play at adults for us to put it together than like a kid to know what a baby Ruth is.
I would have never put that together if I didn't read the book.
I know, because I wouldn't have tied it either. But you know what I'm thinking? Like it could have been a trade issue. You never know.
A what?
Like a trademark issue. Candy bar.
Could be, yeah.
It comes to my mind because of the time that the other author had told us from Silver Linings Playbook about the music.
Right.
So that could be a reason why they didn't go there. Because I just thought, oh, it's a candy factory. Of course they're going to talk about this Baby Ruth connection. But I was upset about that. And I was just upset about the whole postmaster removing his whole background and dialogue. Like in the book, there was a whole section about.
Yeah, it's so much more significant. But you know, there is a Willoughby's too.
There is. I've done that research too.
So it could be that we touch upon some of these other things. Some things they can't even bring back because it was so off. But some things they might be able to, you know. I think they had to change so much because, I mean, it was just, it was crazy. But I think they still kind of got the part about like some parents just don't really care for their kids and they're all about themselves and probably just should never have been parents because that's kind of all they care about is each other.
I think also like because it was made for kids, they had to take some of like the deeper stuff out and make it more silly, like how obsessed the mom was with her knitting. And when Jane was singing how he was, the dad was encouraging the madness, like she can't knit, she can't miss a stitch, which I kind of felt that because I'm the same way. I'm like, don't talk to me when I'm crocheting because I will drop a stitch and like hate you because I will figure it out 20 minutes later. But I feel like those little things had to add humor to the story to make it like funnier for the kids, like the dad purring, which I laughed every time because that is so creepy. Yeah. But like it's irrelevant to the book, but it's an animated cartoon. So I think that's why they kind of had to swap some of those things out.
So the little girl avoided him in the hallway and was just like, how dare you burp on your mother. You need to get out of this room. I was like, did he just say to the baby, how you burn?
Get out.
Yes.
I died. I was like, oh my gosh.
I also didn't like the fact they changed how Tim, the oldest brother, was basically acting as though he was the parent in a sense, like controlling and bossing the little ones around. But in the movie, it wasn't like that at all. I mean, a little bit,
Right.
but not like it. They made it so forceful.
Yeah,
They downplayed that.
yeah.
Definitely.
He wasn't. I mean, in the book, he was a lot meaner to me. In the movie,
Yeah.
he was more. Of course, I'm the only one who cares, so I'm being responsible. But he wasn't kind of mean about it,
Right.
and like,
Right. Yeah.
And then
why,
Jane,
but he was
so
kind of like,
much-
why the rest of y'all came around? Because I was doing fine on my own.
Yeah, exactly. And my own self to defend, to look out for.
little Jane was more timid in the book to me. Like in the
Yeah.
movie,
Oh yeah.
more empowered.
Yes. Right.
That was a change in the dynamic.
Yeah.
But I loved Barnaby A and Barnaby B. They cracked me.
God. If they
So
Hi, Mommy.
crazy.
them switching them
Hi, mommy.
that damn sweater every 5 seconds.
What?
The
Yeah.
sweater. Oh my gosh, the sweater killed me. I was like a big
Oh my God.
So at first I was like, well, wait, why is the sweater that same color? But I had to remember that they were making the yarn, or the mom was making the yarn out of the dad's mustache hair. And because their hair was bright pink, the sweater had to be bright pink instead of beige. So at first I was like, it's not a beige sweater. And then I remembered mustache hair, yarn, creepy as heck. It made sense then. But the whole, you get it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you fight over it on Sundays. I was like, okay.
It's like
Little mushroom heads.
I like the nanny. How did you like the nanny?
I loved her. That was
Nanny.
oh my gosh. I mean,
I love that. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I loved that because I love Maya Rudolph. The only thing about that dialogue that I didn't like is that there seemed like there could have been a little bit more storyline on her background in the orphanage, because when the big military woman came and made her comments, like we didn't really have a frame of reference for that. Like why
It was out of the blue.
why she was so intimidated
Yeah.
by this. Like I would have loved a little bit more of some reference, since they changed that from the book anyway. It should have been a little bit of a backstory, just a quick flash of her childhood or something.
Right. Something. Because it kind of left it hanging.
But I do like how they kept the dynamic between her and the commander, which was self-proclaimed commander, together, and like correlated it to today's terms with like texting and like the voice messages, and how I like how they changed that part to be more relatable to like what kids would understand. Like they're not going to understand half of like the stuff from like 2008, let alone 2 years ago. So I do like that.
Like a telegram.
Right. A CD.
Treva, you asked a question earlier about Lois being an orphan, or whether or not she was. No, she was not. She was raised by her parents. She was born in Hawaii. Her actual real name was originally Sina, and her grandmother made her parents change the name to an American name, not Norwegian, because she was born in the States. So yeah, she was. And when this was changed, or when this was made into a movie, she was already like 80. So yeah, I'm assuming she's still alive because she was like 84.
Right.
So
That's actually
anyway,
pretty cool.
Wikipedia, which is
Fun fact.
She's not. She's alive. According to Wikipedia.
Okay, good. Okay.
So no one's gone in and changed it if she has passed.
Oh.
And Louise, if you have the internet, sorry to sound ageist, but
I think it's Lois. Is it Lois?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm messing it up. I'm thinking about my friend Louise. So Lois, I'm sorry.
So Lois, was a really cute story. She's got a great imagination.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
But so Lynn, I know you talked about the dad and the purring, but this whoa.
I loved it.
What to do with that? I'm like, what is that symbolizing?
And how it like comforted the mom. Oh man, I loved how creepy
was
that
like,
was.
whoa. what's happening right now. What is that supposed to mean? Like, what is that?
You know how like certain sounds like soothe people?
Okay.
Like certain people like to hear like the scraping on a chalkboard. Some people like to hear
like that.
The ASMR.
Listen.
Go to some, what is it, OnlyFans? And some people like to hear people.
Yeah, that's true.
That disgusts me. Close your daggone mouth. Like, what is wrong with you? Didn't somebody teach you to close your mouth when you eat? But some people.
True.
There are people on YouTube who are millionaires because they do mukbangs and ASMR like simulations and just
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like to hear.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is in the movie, when performed that act, it was usually when they were intimate. And so I'm trying to figure out what that was just, I don't know if I'm reading more into it, but it was kind of crazy. Like if
you probably are reading more into it with all that candy coming out your mouth.
All I'm saying, it was like every time she was like, ooh, he was like, oh.
I loved it. I laughed out loud as a full-grown adult every time he did that.
Treva, what is that on your cup there?
Harry Tubman.
Yep. Can't see if you would pull it for your face. There you go.
Oh, interesting. Go ahead, Hurt.
Stuff about her.
Where'd you get that?
I got this when Dennis and I did our Harriet Tubman journey a couple of years ago, where we went to every single one of the markers and we sort of followed her freedom path from Maryland all the way to. Did
you walk it like she did, or did you?
We absolutely did not walk it. We rode it.
Okay.
But it took us several days because we actually stopped at each marker. Some of them were museums. It took us about 4 days to get through it. And then from there, we just went to New York to hang out with his family.
Imagine like walking and jumping trains and all that.
That's what we would say every day. Like,
you should have put some rocks in your socks.
Yeah, I'm not playing them games. I appreciate what she did just because we were driving it and I was exhausted every day. So,
look, we appreciate it because we up on here being seen, right? Not downstairs, out back in the backyard in the shed with whips on our backs. So yeah, I know you appreciate it.
So we went from a kids movie to whipping slaves. What's happening?
Word. I didn't use
never know what we're going to talk about, clearly.
Right. I was just sitting here like,
sorry. I mean, saw the come. It was like, saw the come.
It's a glitch in the matrix. It's all right.
Back in. So what did y'all think about the cast?
So, but there was some abusive stuff going on in the movie. So I get the tirade. I get it.
Don't encourage the madness. Stop being an enabler.
I'll take another drink to that.
So I really enjoyed the cast. I think the voices matched the animated characters. Like I love Maya Rudolph. I think Terry Crews did a great job.
I love Ricky Gervais. Like his comedy is hilarious, and him playing a cat and saying like, what everybody's thinking is he has a baby in a box and I'm going to sit in it. And I was like, so I love Ricky Gervais. He is like a comedy.
Yes. I love him so much too. Yeah. That's funny.
Very funny.
But I have no protest to any of like the casting. I mean, Martin Short playing the dad, purring all the time. I can imagine him being in the studio, like with his neck up against like the microphone purring, because it's Martin Short. He's also a comedic genius. So I have no protest to the casting.
I'm not familiar with the guy that played Tim, the oldest son, though. I don't know him.
What's his name?
Will Forte?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a comedian too.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a comedian too. He's behind the scenes a lot, but he's in a couple of movies too.
Okay. And they probably like recorded their lines like individually, but could you imagine if they had all of these like stars together in one studio recording it?
I know.
It would take like 16 years to get through it because you would just laugh.
I'd never get through it.
Right.
Exactly.
I could not be in the same room with Maya Rudolph.
Because Maya Rudolph is a comedian herself too, so I could only imagine.
Right. She's just 100% ignorant. Like I don't know. When she's on,
Will was on Saturday Night Live from 2002 to 2010.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know.
You have to look at
he
a different
definitely
picture.
has-
Saw him. Yeah, I think
I may have missed it because I don't miss an episode of Saturday Night Live. So
That's what I'm saying. He looked very different though.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he was an
Very
animated
different.
person, so but
Yeah.
that's probably why they
I'll
really
be damn. I'll be damn, Lynn. I'm just saying. I forgot you wouldn't have. You were just listening to the voice, not looking at the picture.
Right. The name didn't sound familiar.
I know, but I could not pass up
Right.
the opportunity to make that.
Well, I
clear, man.
appreciate you reeling that in.
Oh my God, y'all was stupid.
Oh, Lynn, her
Didn't
sarcasm.
look familiar.
Okay.
Are you muted, Rhea?
I know. I think she's calling us names in her head right now.
Bingo. Don't let it out too much because people at work don't know.
All right, we all ready to rate this adaptation?
Yes.
First, before you rate the adaptation, I need you to say one more time how much you love the book.
Don't go carried away because we
Because
didn't
the adaptation is a little different, but how did you like the book?
get carried away. It was
I.
Okay, so I have to just let everybody know that this was Rhea's pick. And I know we said it earlier, but like you have to understand the emphasis on Rhea's pick because it's usually rough. She's had a few falters.
Talk about Artemis Fowl. I'm telling you, when I figure if I ever see the producer of Artemis Fowl, we're gonna have a knockdown drag out argument. Seriously.
You're gonna have a legal case.
So don't, because I'm gonna be held for that for the rest of my life. That's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't just the movie with Artemis Fowl. So
It was just the movie because you could have made the movie bring out the book so much better. I don't know what Disney's problem
Well,
was.
you had to get through the book, Rand, and I didn't.
Yeah, but the problem is there's so more versions of this book. It gets better and better, and I'm never going
I
to get you guys to
believe
look
that.
at the read.
Does
Listen,
it though?
or read it.
Does it?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
That's my
You were
point.
so convincing on this one.
Artemis,
So
Disney
We're not
ruined
talking
this.
about Artemis Fowl. This book
Okay.
is good.
Damn,
You-
Artemis Fowl.
You had a great. You
I
had a
just want
good
everybody
pick.
to know the storyline behind when it's Rhea's pick because it's always interesting. Not
Yeah,
always
whatever.
bad. I'm just saying it's always interesting.
We just
So
are
before we
bracing
rate,
ourselves.
I wanted everybody to understand how we feel.
Champagne,
Going
can
into
you
this
start? Because
situation.
you'll be a little nicer, I think.
Okay. So I did. The book was interesting. I did not dislike it. It did not stay true to the adaptation at like very little, but because I like the both of them separately, I will give it a long day for me.
Oh, and that's sweet.
Well, you can't expect a long day from Treva, that's for sure. Clearly.
When did you?
Okay, so I actually liked the book because I was able to reference, like, have a whole visual scene in my head of like that territory, that part of the country or part of Europe, but whatever. And it was a little dark, and I tend to like dark, so I'm okay with that. So I like the book. The adaptation was a little off, but I do understand why they made those changes because it couldn't be as dark as the book and be a kid's movie. So the little funny jokes and the comedians that were in it made it feasible to be a kid's movie. So I'm actually going to give it a full glass because they did the best they could with what they had to make it a kid's movie.
That was really nice of you, Lynn.
That's really nice of
I'm
you.
an
too,
amazing
and I'm
person,
not
that's all.
going
My
there.
God.
I think I like the both the book and the movie, similar to you, to both of you. I like both of them, but the adaptation was poo-poo. And so for me, I'm going to give it a half glass because they just veered off too much. And maybe they should have made it like a young teen animated something rather than focusing on the little kids so that they could stay a little bit more true to the storyline.
It's all right. I'm just going to tell Dennis to start
Party.
purring at you and review it later on.
That's a half
So for
glass
me-
for me.
To be honest, I love both of them. I actually was going to give it a sip. It was my pick, but I do know that they did sway off. There were still kids in the movie. There were still horrible parents in the movie. So I'm at a long day myself.
I was about to say, if you would have gave this a sip, I was like, well, that took a turn to the left.
I mean, as far as the adaptation, I was going to give it a sip. I really was. Anyway, my pick. Please check it out. Please review. Type in, this is going to be posted. If you have some comments, add the comments. It didn't have to be today, but comment. Let us know how you felt about it. It's very, very quick read. Movies on Netflix. It's really cute. Check it out.
So didn't get a full bottle. Sorry.
No.
You've not drank the whole thing.
Full bottle for someone.
Right. But I agree. Check it out. It's really cute. Read the book. It's an easy, quick read. So you'll get through it like that. And then check out the movie. Let us know what you think.
All right.
And then check us out for the next episode. We got lots of new books coming.
Yeah.
We're going to be posting them soon. So please check back to see what we're posting over the next 5 to be ready.
And they're literally all across the board again.
Yes, it
There's
is.
no rhyme or reason to the book.
Don't have your mind set on one genre because
because it's a doozy what we got coming up.
So stay in the house, so stay safe. COVID is real. Read a book, get online, and participate in our conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye.
On readwatchwine.com,
Follow us.
YouTube, Facebook. Bye, guys.